I'd like to thank Brian for the housing issues he's brought before the council too. I think he's been fabulous.
Very good. Gavin and Faye Barclay. Welcome.
Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to compliment those responsible for the logo, what the smart choices are. And I want to just address what I don't think smart choices are and what I think smart choices should be. And one of the, I was speaking firstly about the rural rates. It's pretty brutal to increase the rural rates. There's a very small minority of the ratepayers of Christchurch, and to brutalise us like that is, we think, very unfair. I'm against subsidising non-essential services, and I think somebody mentioned the question there about Lancaster Park, and I'm concerned about how things have evolved, and it would seem that there's insurance money has been offered, but we're turning a blind. Is that correct, or what was in the paper?
Unfortunately, the Civic Insurance Chief Executive decided that it would be a good idea to put matters in the public arena with a particular lens to it that does not reflect our understanding of the situation. So we're in dispute with our insurers, and his comments were very unhelpful to resolving those disputes.
Well, I'm sorry that I got that wrong, but
no, it's not your fault. Yes, it's entirely his.
But I think somebody also mentioned in conjunction with that about the professionalism and the professional age that we live in, and I believe that if we play golf at the Hagley Park, we pay our subs or fees. If we belong to a squash club or bowling club or all our recreational utilities, we all as members pay subs. Well, I think it's got to the stage now that we should be charging our professional players green fees for the use of our facilities. I really believe that.
Yep.
It's just almost out of hand. And that's why another smart choice is that we've got to look at ways of being more specific about our budget. And I think it was mentioned by the previous people about, I feel strongly that we should be putting that time frame out to do things properly, not quickly, but do them properly over a longer period, which would spread the burden, and that is one way that we should be looking at it. I feel this might be a touchy-feely subject, but I think another thing that concerns us is the cost to ratepayers of our bureaucracy. And if we look at Orion or the port company or the airport, and we compare the size of those three organisations compared with maybe the hospital board or maybe Tate Industry or the GovT businesses, the gross products of those three utilities that I'm talking about, I feel that we should really only have one CEO of those three council entities. I feel our bureaucracy has got out of hand. And another part of our bureaucracy that we feel strongly about is our enforcement area, where we would like to know just how effective our enforcement officers have been. In our area with the quarries, where there's been pretty blatant misuse of the consents, and there's lack of consideration by the planning people, the fact that the quarrying west of Christchurch is something that we haven't allowed. We haven't even allowed for maybe having to purify our water. The cost of that's going to be horrendous. I think we've got to remind ourselves that the whole of that area of McLean's Island to past the rifle range at West Milton was set aside as an area to protect the groundwater of Christchurch, and now they're quarrying in that area. It's right point blank in the firing range of the whole city, and we think there's a lack of foresight there.
I think Vicky's going to get in your ear straight afterwards and make sure make sure that you put a submission in on the district plan review, because this council's made a stand on that, and we need support from people to actually make submissions on the district plan review.
we're having a meeting with the Commissioner on Monday night at 5:15, and
Good.
this is an ongoing issue, it really is, and I'm very grateful for the support we're getting from Vicky and other councillors, because there's so many people going like that and just turning a blind eye.
We have a precious resource that we must preserve.
Yes.
Isn't that more an issue of the consents rather than the effectiveness of the enforcement team?
Yeah.
I mean, the enforcement team are only trying to follow up on the provisions that are consent or conditions that a consent sets.
Yeah.
And it is a wee bit of both, but I mean, I think the primary issue is more with the consent rather than the people that are charged to follow it up. I mean, they've got a huge workload on, and I just think that the problem goes back.
If we see what's happened at Roberts Road, though, that decision is just a disaster.
It is.
We've just got to cry.
I don't think you'll find anyone in this room who disagrees with you.
So, I could go on. I don't want to take any more time, but I just could go on for ages. But just thanks for your patience. I just remind you about their smart choices, and I think we've got to be really smart about prolonging the development, getting our choices right. I think to superimpose another facility like Sir Lancaster Park just seems crazy when we've got a facility there that should be able to be fixed. It's been through the wettest winter in our history last year, and if there was land problems there, we would have thought all that concrete would have sunk if it was really unsafe.
Thank you. No, that's very helpful. Thank you very much.